Hi, I'm Connie Whitman, your host, and you're listening to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. So, my quote today is actually some song lyrics by Blue Flannel, and I had to look this one up. And the song says, I hate drunk people, I hate sober people, and I hate all people today. And I hate short people, and I hate tall people, and I hate all people today. Because I'm having a bad day, having a bad day. Get out of my way, because I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad day, having a bad day. Get out of my way, because I'm having a bad day. So I'm sure you all know or heard that song before, even if you didn't know who the artist was. So the question is, do you have a bad day? And do you seem to have more bad days than good days? A recent study, I did some research for the show, and a recent study from 2017, it was done by Anxiety and Depression Association of America, and they found that anxiety disorders in the U.S. specifically are affecting 40 million adults in the U.S. age 18 and older, and those stats translate into about 18.1% of our population every year who's affected by depression. The sad thing is these stats seem to increase every year. So what can we do? How do we help this? Well, my guest today is going to share her story of abuse and depression, and perhaps you might gain some insight as to alternatives that may help you have a good day. So today, on for the second time on the show is Ann Hayes. Now, Ann is an inspirational speaker and coach whose mission is to help urban youths who struggle with depression to feel better immediately. Her own story of struggle related to repeated child sexual trauma proves powerful in her ability to impact others. Ann Hayes also offers masterminds that focus on one's spiritual and personal development, as well as a necessary component to successful entrepreneurship. She's recently produced a 3-hour workshop for corporations seeking guidance on how to reach and connect with millennials and how to influence millennials. She's the author of Teenage Grace, a book of meditation written with the teenage soul in mind. She's a mother of 2 teen millennials, God bless her, and is bilingual in Spanish and English. So please help me welcome for the second time my amazing guest, Ann Hayes. So Ann, thank you so much for being on the show.
I'm so excited to be here again. I love what you do. I love what you're about. And it's just, like I said before, it's just amazing how you balance your 2 business worlds, so to speak,
Yeah.
But I'm just amazed by that. I'm absolutely amazed by that.
Wonder Woman is my idol.
And you probably feel like it.
I do. For my birthday a couple of years ago, my husband actually bought me, I was in GameStop with my son, and I'm like, is that Wonder Woman? Because, they come out with these new characters. And he's like, yeah, why? And I said, tell your father I want that statue for my office. And I do. I have it behind me in the cabinet, my little Wonder Woman. It empowers me.
Absolutely. Because we're all Wonder Woman, Wonder Men, Wonder People, but we just have to be reminded of it.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. Yeah, we have to remind ourselves of that sometimes. So now my question. On the last show, you had changed your domain, or was in the process actually, I think, of changing your domain name, and had just launched a new website. And then you did it again. You went it back for a second time recently. So why did you change the Ann Hayes transformation? And are you going to keep it, or are you still kind of playing with that?
This is a keeper right here. Here's the thing, and we're all on our journey, and the journey never ends. But as far as the business world and branding and marketing and domains, I have a tremendous amount of content. But I had, as you know, when we first met, we first spoke, I needed clarity. I needed to identify exactly what it is I thought I could bring to the marketplace. And so when I was going through that last domain change, it wasn't me. I have 3 coaches now, and one of my coaches said, the product is you. It is absolutely 100% you. Your name needs to be out there. We're in an age when authenticity and integrity is so critically important, especially for millennials, is that it's going to be your name, and you're in the business of transformation, and that's not clear. So Ann Hayes transformation makes it very, very clear. That's exactly what I'm in the business of doing. It's exactly what I do. It's exactly what I've done. And it's through my own transformation that I had the tools, perspectives, strategies to help others go through their transformation. That's going to stick.
And you know, Anne, I think, first of all, I like Anne Hayes' transformation because I do think it speaks to what you're trying to do. And the other cool thing is you have had tragedy in your life, right? So I think when you connect with, and let's make this clear, you definitely work with millennials because you're a mom. So you have that passion, that connection with the kids who are suffering from depression or have lived through abuse, because you can certainly relate. But you also help women, men, anybody who's going through difficult times, dealing with depression, all of those things. So I think your passion, and I shouldn't say that, but I think the whole millennial piece, because you also do rap, and everybody, I highly recommend go back to the first show that I taped with Anne, and at the end she did a little freestyle, and my 19-year-old Anne got the biggest kick out of it. He was like, she's pretty good, you know? So I think that connection and that you have a youthful perspective, I think that's the connection with the millennials. So what inspired you? Again, you have all of this content in your head from your experience. Your kids obviously are influencers for you. What are you currently working on from a content standpoint that you're bringing to the marketplace? So what gets you out of bed every day, and what's that mojo? What's going on?
Oh my God, serious mojo. I'm in the flow,
Totally.
baby. Yeah, like super mode, speed mode, you know? Seriously, there's so much that I'm working on. And like you said, yes, I have a heart particularly for urban, youth, urban millennials. And, like you said, anyone who struggles with depression right now, like 35 to 55-year-old woman, as well, because that was me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was, in order to get to the kids, you have to also get to the parents because there's always a connection. But with that being said, the content is right now, I'm so excited because I'm just wrapping up a 3-hour workshop that you had mentioned at the beginning that's specifically directed for corporations, businesses, companies to guide them and help them to shift into that new paradigm, that new mindset that allows them to better connect and to influence and ultimately inspire millennials. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm excited. There's actually a couple of books in the works, but I don't want to let that out right now. But I just finished a very short video series where it's called the 31-Day Vertical Leap to More Happiness, Ditching the Big D. And so it was just me sharing tools, perspectives, strategies, through rhyme, what you can do to manage and diminish the symptoms of depression. I'm also putting together a mastermind, a 90-day mastermind. That's basically, it's going to be that 31-day vertical leap to more happiness, reigniting the passion in your life, your passion for life. And that's going to go 90 days. And I have a blueprint. I have milestones. I have it scripted. And it's going to be pretty much through Zoom, and by the end of those 90 days, bam, and it's going to include energy work too, because I do energy work. And to help remove outdated belief systems, because that has a lot to do
Absolutely.
with our mindset, so that we can be the enlightenment for our own change, like the name of your show.
Yeah.
And to me, that's so powerful.
And Anne, I know our the pharmaceutical industry, that one of their biggest sellers, if you will, is depression, right? So the medication that we're taking to offset those signs of depression. And I really love what you're creating, because it's about, let's not, perhaps drugs is needed. Do not get me wrong. I am not minimizing the need in certain where there's chemical imbalances, etc. But I like that you're taking this very holistic approach to say, it is what it is. The reality is the reality of abuse or whatever, wherever the depression, the root cause of it, but that you're trying to create a way to get people to go internally, inside, to create that external, reignite that passion in life. So I do love what you're creating. The other thing I just want to comment on that you mentioned is for the corporations. My son just had, over the summer, in between, going back to college, he worked for a bank, a local bank, and the project, they had the interns work together on a project, and it was for internal and external communication. And one of the thrusts were, how do we connect with millennials, because they don't want to physically walk into the banking institutions because they do everything online. And so, and again, that's a bank. That's just a local type of business. But I know that this topic of attracting, retaining, and getting millennials to buy from, and I don't care what your business is, this is a big topic. So I think that you creating this online protocol program to help connect, because you work really intently with millennials, so you get them, you know what I mean? So you get their buying habits and all of that. And you mentioned the authenticity, and I know the millennials are very much into what you see is what you get, and don't try to put smoke and mirrors in front of me, because they see through that, right? Isn't that what you're finding with your creation?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's the digital expertise that they can bring. In fact, right now, one of the gentleman I'm coaching under for digital marketing is a millionaire. He's the millionaire expert by the name of Marquel Russell out of Atlanta. And I cannot even begin to tell you what he is doing for me to amp things up and get excited about what's coming down the pipe. Sure. It's just, he's connecting me. We're all here, I believe, to bridge the gap in different respects. You know, I believe, you know, even at 54, because of my interaction, my connection with millennials, and my genuine respect for what they bring to the table, and my understanding and my research is that I'm here to bridge that gap, because we all have something to bring to the table, but we have to learn to listen, respect. The other thing with millennials, they are coming in with the intelligence, the experience even that they're having. It's like time has been collapsed. It is speeding up. They've proven it. It's proven scientifically. So you might look at like a 24-year-old millennial and say they've been through A, B, C, D, and say, oh, they haven't lived, you know, a life. They don't have enough experience, and that's not really fear. Time is collapsing. They're coming in with the ability to take in what took us decades to take in, and we just have to accept it and get over it, you know, and say, okay, let's go. Let's share what we're doing here, because it's amazing.
Well, and the other thing too, Anne, and scientific research has proven that we're born with innate belief systems and experience and wisdom, whatever you want to call it, from our ancestors. So because of this technical revolution that we're in right now, right, all of this technology, so these kids are born with technology in their hand. I mean, they have iPhones in their hands at the age of 1, right? The millennial group, they grew up with it. But this collapse of time, I think, because of the technology, everything is in hyperspeed motion. Plus, they have the ancestors' DNA of belief systems and experiences that they're like, they're so, I say this all the time, and now this is making sense through our conversation, but I think to myself, wow, these kids are so much smarter than I ever was at their age. You remember when we were in school, like even in college, you'd write a paper, you'd have to go and do the research, you physically have to go to the library. We didn't have the internet. These kids Google everything, so they have so much more information at their fingertips that they know more than we ever could have known, because you can't live at the library to just keep reading books, right? That would have been impossible. But now in the palm of their hand, they just Google it, and they have information that, God bless, maybe we didn't have till we were in our 40s, and they're capturing that at 18. So time, absolutely, I agree, has shrunk or collapsed, as you say. And I just want to shift a minute. What do you think, for those listening, what do you think you bring to the table that helps, whether I'm a millennial or whether I'm a woman and I'm struggling with depression? What separates you from my therapist, or what separates you from those other resources that are mainstream, let's just say?
I'm the specialist. I'm the surgeon. I'm not going to give you a Band-Aid. I'm not going to give you a bottle of pills and say, here it is. And like you, some of us need that. I'm focused on the mildly to moderately depressed, because I can bridge that gap. You have to be ready to want change. I can reignite that passion in your life. I'm the surgeon. I'm the expert that's going to come in and create real change. And I'm able to do it because of my own experiences. and the tools and the strategies and perspectives that I have gained. It's like, boom, I have a blueprint. I'm ready to go. This is not just, oh, I could, no, I have a set blueprint. I can give you PDFs. I can guide you through this. I can give you hands-on stuff. I can make you feel better today. I have a client who, in the first session, she said, wow, that was amazing. I feel like I got more out of that than I did in 20 years of therapy. And this is a reminder that you don't need to have a degree. The millennials have proven that. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a trained therapist, but dang, I know my stuff and I make change and I make.
Well, you lived through it. So, you are the embodiment of been through it, tremendous abuse, right? Tremendous depression. And what did you do to come out to be, at 54, the amazing source of energy, and now taking that wisdom, because it is wisdom, that because you lived through it, right, and you created this blueprint, and that works. And the thing is, it not only works for you, but you're out there sharing this prototype and protocol with so many other people. Like you just said, this woman said, whoa, like, wait a minute, because you've walked in people's shoes. And also your daughter, correct?
Yes.
Battles also depression. So it's not like, been there, done that, I'm healed. You are still in the throes with the children that you work with and the women clients that you work with. You're still living and breathing it. And I wanted to comment on one other thing that you said before, which I thought was brilliant. And you said that, yes, your love and passion is for these kids, because who wants to see a child in distress? Totally get that, okay? As a mom, totally get that. But you said, but how about the moms or dads, parents who are dealing with those kids who are in such pain and distress, so that you could connect and help parents perhaps who are also depressed, but how they can get to the root cause of their depression, but at the same time help their kids. Because I know as a parent, it's all, forget me for a minute, right? It's never about me. It's always about my kids. So I love that you can help guide parents into how to help their kids in such distress. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you're helping parents as well kind of become the support function that these kids need? Because I don't think we know how.
I think the first thing, and this is a real hard one for a parent, because you hear that it's said so often. There's a period, like people say, between 14 and 18, and you will lose your child. You won't recognize your child. Granted, you have hormones. The brain of a teenage is just a different brain. That being said, it's kind of just bringing certain root belief systems to the forefront. And that includes the parent just as much as the child. And the parents, as parents, and I know I've done this, I've been guilty of this, we focus so much, like you said, on the teen. It's the teen's issues. We need to help them with their issues, when really, when we change and we focus on, okay, what am I doing that's contributing to this, or that has contributed to it, and how can I truly help my child? And that's what's also helped me. I had to step back and say, what is my role into this? And it can go really deep. And it just challenges you on so many levels to make choices in life. So it's not just your belief systems, it's how you interact, why you interact in the way that you do, why those patterns have been created. And it's up to the parent just as much to break up those patterns as it is for the child. It's that holistic approach. It's the family, and it's such a powerful piece that I had to experience firsthand so that I could turn around and help those parents. When those parents are ready to accept that, yes, they need to address themselves, then we're good to go. We're good to go.
And that's a tough one, because we never want to think, oh, my kid is going through this because of me. And there's no fault. But you feel, as a parent, we take responsibility. So we feel, oh my goodness, they're going through this because I'm dealing with depression. I hide it from them, but we're not hiding it from them. And that's the real reality, right, Ann? Because they know, they see when a parent is depressed, whether they're taking medication or they're drinking or whatever they are to camouflage those wounds. Kids feel it, kids just feel it. So when you talk to, and I like this, that where we're going with this. And again, I always have some kind of prepared questions, but I like where we're going with this parent-child connection, because I think it's at the core, it's critical, and I think this is where you help folks, because you yourself dealt with depression and abuse. Now you have a child who's dealing with it. So not only are you working on you with that component, but now you're the parent helping the child work through this frustration, right, and depression. What is some of the wisdom that you help parents with or help kids with? Can you share some ideas with us?
Um, wow. Okay. So parents and kids together, or
You can
um,
even do them separately that ends up helping the parent-child connection. You know what you do. I don't. You know what I mean?
I'm going to say, and this would apply parent and child. Number one is we can only separate ourselves from each other in our mind. That sounds pretty deep and powerful. That's my overriding, you know, statement. We can truly only separate ourselves from each other in our mind. And that goes from the microscopic to the macroscopic. Because we can, it's where our mind is, it's where our belief system, it's our perceptions of what happened. And if I can continue with that, when I was, and I'm going to get personal here, when my daughter, we'll focus on my daughter right now, when she was 3.5, her world turned upside down because it was a wonderful, happy family stuff. We had a lot, everything was happy and joyful, happy little girl. But my partner became sick with a very serious, terminal cancer at the time. She was hospitalized, almost died. It was 3.5 years of drawn out illnesses in and out of the hospital. She was shuttled off to other family members, even people who weren't family members. Life changed. Life changed in an instant. I was stressed. I yelled almost every single day, and just impatient. And that can't help but have an effect on the child, and so we've had to go back and get back to the root of that. I'm past the shame of it. But for me, it's like, okay, let's break these patterns up. And first I have to recognize that we can only separate ourselves in our mind. Let's focus on uniting with each other, moving past things. Let's bring it into the present and break things up. Let's create different neural pathways. Let's just repipe the house. We don't have to go through everything and regurgitate and remember everything and focus on it. Let's go from the pain to the glory. We're not victims anymore. Victimized, traumatized to glorified is what I say. Let's focus on where we want to go. Let's stop.
And share, how has that helped your daughter in her navigating, and she's 15, correct? 15, 14?
15. Good memory.
Yeah. So how are you helping her navigate and changing those neuropaths in her brain?
Well, first of all, the big thing is for me to be brutally honest about my role, and then say, this is it. It's over with. We're moving on. I don't have any shame. It is what it is. And honestly, as a role model, what have I done to pick myself up every single time? Because right now, life throws things at you constantly. And I still get up and I have a smile on my face. I'm reacting differently than I used to.
Sure.
So that is the biggest piece. But the other piece is compassion. It's like, I'm pretty chill. I listen. I'm like, okay, she's going to make mistakes. I believe that everything happens for a reason. I don't worry. I don't sweat about it. Something happens. I'm like, okay, accept it. This is supposed to happen. What can I learn from it? And what can I help her to learn from it? We made our mistakes, especially as teenagers. We continue to make our mistakes, and we need to be more compassionate with ourselves and then with each other.
Do you find that the women and kids that you're helping, that I notice this with myself and my peers, we want to control everything with the kids to prevent them from making mistakes, and that's dangerous because we've made a crap load of mistakes over our lifetime, and you fast forward and now you look at us in our 50s and we're okay, we're doing all right. So are you finding that control is really intense for that parent-child relationship, that you're seeing with your clients?
Yes, it was for me. So I like learning from that. I can see it,
Yep.
but it's hard, and that's a worry factor. But it's like what I do for myself when I do for other parents is like focus on the people who you know, including yourself, who did A, B, C, D, and it got outrageous and intense and it went really deep. You're doing well. Focus on the success stories, not the ones that you view that weren't successful. Where do you want to put your focus? I'm focusing on the success stories. This guy was in and out of DYS for 3 years, did robberies, did time, 3 years solitary confinement, and now he's running 2 jiu-jitsu facilities and inspiring all the people who used to be the people who locked him up. That's a real story. That's someone I got a call with today. That's a real story. That's what I focus on.
And there's ways that when you start to peel back the onion to see how those success stories occur, right? From going, from depression, abuse, imprisonment, right? And then fast forward, what were the steps they took to get from here to here? What did that look like? And you can create a blueprint, and that's what I think you're just really good at, that listening, understanding, because you went through it also, that you see the commonality of that path, and now you're able to recreate it into a clear communication, right, through these master classes and things you're creating. Am I getting that pretty clear? Because you're focusing on the success stories, right? You see it clearly now.
Absolutely. And I know, like, and it's not something I'm working on now, but that there is going to be a master class that is going to involve parents and child, however that unfolds, because I think that connection is important. That's going to come too. That's a little bit further down the road, but you understand, I think, perfectly well, because you are enlightened, you are a mother, you are out there, you're doing this. So I feel like you pick up on that so succinctly and so concisely and clearly, and it's beautiful.
Thank you. And this is another thing, Ann, and I think you're very good at this as well. Mutual admiration society right now. But you listen well. And I know I teach in my training, right? Sales. Well, that's a wonderful thing. Why is listening so important? Well, if I don't understand my customer, how do I know what the heck to recommend, right? Shame on me. So listening is such a critical skill, and unfortunately it's an optional skill. We can hear, unless God forbid you're hearing impaired, but we all hear, we don't listen. We take turns talking at each other, and that's dangerous. And I think when it comes to our kids, because we think we know better, because it's our kids, what do they know? Like you said it before, they haven't lived. What a load of crap, because we have to stop and listen to our kids too. Hey, listen, I know my kids will say, Ma, you don't listen either. It's hard. Listening is a really hard skill, and I think that you've mastered that as well, through your struggles and through your life and what have you. So I think listening is one of the key components that we have to start doing from human to human that we're not. And I think I'm just good at that, because of my sales upbringing, and I think because of the world that you came through. Now I know you also do a lot of speaking events. So what are some of the key elements that you try to really get out there when you're speaking?
Well, first of all, the first one is that, I truly, truly believe that we can only separate ourselves from others in our mind. And that goes across the board, in any given situation. Nothing is ever personal, ever, ever, ever. And that in the importance of connection, the importance of giving each other value, but first finding value for ourselves. It goes to those 3 basic human needs. We need love, we need connection, we need to feel like we've been valued. I talk about the fact that I believe that anything is possible. There's no limit here. That old lyric, the sky's the limit, that's bull crap, that no longer exists. Anything is possible, and that we have to be the person responsible to break down the own barriers in our mind. It's what we focus on. We create that unification that we want in our life. As someone who's a lesbian in the Bible Belt with Christians, I go to Christian networking groups. My coach is one of my coaches, my business coach, is a devout Christian. I go in because I know I belong everywhere I show up, because I was designed the way I was designed, because I believe that everything, and this is part of what I speak about too, is we were all designed in the way that we're designed to teach compassion and love. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and it's funny because I often speak, and it's funny because I'm in corporations, and people go, "You talk about this?" Yes, because it's real, even in a corporate environment, because we're dealing with humans, we're dealing with our customers. It's real. And I giggle because I think there's only two emotions that exist: love and fear. And when you're coming from a place of love, and whatever that means to you, empathy, compassion, kindness, care, to me, all of that is a subset of love. So if you really care about your client and your recommendations are coming from the heart, meaning it's legitimate, it's really going to help your customer, they see that, they're going to be like, yeah, I need that, right? You don't get those objections. But if you're coming from a place of fear, I have to meet my goals. Oh my God, my manager's down my back. Oh my God, what if this customer gives me pushback? It's fear driven. Customers feel that, and then they feel that you're not being authentic, or that you don't really see them to offer them the right thing. So there's only two emotions, love and fear. Well, in my world anyway. The other thing I wanted to comment on, you made me giggle, and then we're really out of time, but you said we limit ourselves on 11/11. This is an 11 universal year. Anybody who knows numerology, on November 11th, right? So anybody who's thinking Connie's going into her woo woo now, um, but it's a great year, end of year of 2018, to manifest, right? And to create what we want to manifest in 2019: good health, abundance, new career, whatever it is, purchase a new home, whatever the things are that you're looking to manifest. So my husband and I sat down to create our manifestation list. And all of a sudden, as we started writing it down, we put limitations. Oh, well, this is exactly what we were like. Oh, what about? Oh, that could never happen. And we looked at each other and we said, wow, talk about creating that limit, because our reality says limit, when in reality, there is no limit. So humans, we put these restrictions, and you did mention that, and I just wanted to comment on that because I agree 100%.
No, that's huge. That's a huge one.
Yeah. Yeah. We're our own worst enemy, Ann.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy's in here, it's we create our own stuff. Guys, we're out of time, but I do want to share Ann's website. It's AnnHayesTransformation.com, and Ann is ANNE, and then Hayes, HAYES, transformation.com. If you would like to email and have a dialogue with Ann initially, definitely check out her website, but go to Ann Hayes Transformation at gmail.com, and Ann will, you'll share anything you can to help them, make a decision to work with you, or resources that you may have found are available that people just don't know about, right?
Absolutely. I'm here to help.
I know you are. You're an absolute delight and a love, Ann, and I'm always honored to have you on, because I think this is such a need. And I think, like my statistic at the beginning of the show, and I went back to look at some of the older statistic, and the tragedy is these numbers keep escalating year after year after year. And I think it was from 2013 to 2017, the numbers have just skyrocketed. And what's happening is we're medicating. And again, not that I'm saying medicine is not a resource that may be needed, but if there's a more holistic alternative for our youth, and for parents and youth together, I think you're the solution, or one of the solutions, Ann, right? I know I'm prejudiced because I think the world of you. Yeah, I'm allowed to be. It's my show. I could be prejudiced, right? Because I think you're amazing. Guys, if you'd like more information from me as it relates to sales, if there's a topic you want me to cover on the show, please email me directly at Connie@WhitmanAssociates.com. And I promise I respond personally, and I read everything, because you matter. You matter to me. The other thing, my partner and I, if you go to wisdomdecoded.com, we're still offering our free, I know you've taken it, Ann, our free communication style assessment, and you get a little report that just gives you an insight into how you communicate, how people view you, your superpowers, your strengths, and some of the challenges that come with it, and maybe how we have to work on those challenges to be heard and seen and understood in our life, whether it's personal or professional. So check it out, wisdomdecoded.com. And thank you again for your insight, for your authenticness, but for sharing your personal story, your daughter's, personal story, and it's appreciated. I think people can relate to reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you. I'm honored, equally honored to be here with you.
Aw, you're a love. You're a love. I love doing the show, and I hope that the information we share, my guests and myself share, that it always just said, even if it's just the glimpse of, maybe, and I'm good with that, right? That means that we're getting through to the people that just need to see, maybe that might work for me. And that's, for me, that's what the show is about. I want people to see that there's always resources out there. We just don't always know where to go, right, to find it. So
Yeah, absolutely. You're doing your part, and I so appreciate it. It's
thanks,
amazing.
Ann. Thanks. Love having you on. You and I'll do a show down the road. I would like to get your daughter. I think
Yeah.
that would be a cool perspective. Maybe she can watch this show and the show we did previous. Again, people go back and listen to that one. But I would love for your daughter to come on, because I think if parents can hear from the kid's perspective, they'll be like, oh, that sounds like my kid. I think that, again, that's that reality check, right, that we can relate to. So again, no pressure ever, but we're going to work on your daughter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
All right, more love to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Ann. Always a pleasure. I hope you guys will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together just how to grow and challenge ourselves, and realize that whatever the changes that you need to go through, we've got this. You can do it. Sometimes you just need a different resource, and I hope that my guests and myself are that resource for you. Thank you all for joining me, and thank you again for just being an amazing guest. You have been listening to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. I wish you all a wonderful and inspired week. Thanks, everybody.